My main message to Windaba attendees comes in two parts. The first one is for the South African industry. South Africa is way ahead of all the other sub-Saharan African countries. In fact, we look up to South Africa. I know there is a lot of challenges within the industry. I know even with bid window 6 just closing, it was only 1.2 times oversubscribed, which is actually a challenge, given that we will not be able to really satisfy all the full need within this bid window. So for me, I just want to say to those attending Windaba from the South African industry that there is so much to be proud of. We still have a lot of work to do to continue going out and taking the risks, looking for sites. I know it is a challenge sometimes when it comes to policy and regulation, as well as other constraints such as grid constraints, but don't let those limit you. I think it's important to keep forging forward. The knowledge that we get here is only going to go out into the continent. And for the Windaba attendees from the African wind energy industry, I want to tell them that look at what is possible. When you see South Africa taking, leaps and bounds, having, new bid windows coming up every couple of years, that is so inspiring to see. And with 600 million people without power on the continent, wind power is really, really a key technology that we can use to bring cheap, affordable, sustainable power to everybody. So I would like to say that look at what's possible, but also go forth and also take on the challenge to power Africa. As GWEC, we have a new manifesto that we've just launched actually, and it's outlined a few policy recommendations that can really help increase the amount of renewables within the grid. I'm only going to highlight 3, and I think these 3 are really key to African countries. The first is to really invest in the grid. We have a lot of grid constraints, so renewables really struggle to come onto the grid. We've seen the situation that happens here in South Africa, but this also happens across Africa, where the grid is not strong enough to take on renewables coming on. The second one is to really look at the diversity that we have within the workforce. So we need to have more women. We can't set up these energy systems that are used by everybody only using one demographic of people. We need to have everybody involved in setting up the projects, constructing the projects, operating the projects, and I think that's very key. And finally, we need policy that really enables private sector investment, because private sector is who's going to lead the energy transition. As much as we want to rely on our governments, we do need private sector to innovate. We need private sector to invest for us to have more renewable energy, and I think that's something that is key as well. For women within the energy sector, I would like to say that we need to bring our expertise to the sector. As I've said before, we can't create energy systems that are going to be used by 100% of the population only using one demographic. So as a woman, as an African woman, I think it's important that our voices are heard within the industry. I like to stand up and be an example of a woman working within the energy industry, but I think it's important that we have more of us. I want to enter a room and we're many of us, and so if you do feel a pulling, or if you do feel a call to come into the energy industry, I'm sure you have a skill that is important to us, whether it's community liaison, whether it's technical, whether it's financial. Please bring your skills and join us in the industry. We definitely need you. Sitting on the advisory board this year of the elites was just fantastic to see all the projects that were coming through, such innovation from Nigeria to Kenya to South Africa, across the continent. There is really no lack of innovation. We need to bring these projects to the forefront, and I think Enlit Africa is really important in really highlighting the projects. Them winning these awards gives them visibility. It also boosts their confidence. I remember when I was named an elite, it really opened doors for me. So I think this publication is also doing the same for these projects on the continent, and I think it's very important to really recognize them, to reward them, to have them in the magazine, and I really want to commend Enlit Africa for doing that.